when dreams and reality collide. A life is turned upside down. Thrust into a conflict where ancient shadows fight secret wars. For control of the future. Her allies hide in plain sight, but so do her enemies.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to another show.
Hello.
Poland and Samurai are joining us today. How you guys going?
I'm doing all right. Poland's muted. There he is.
There he is. He's back.
Yes, I was making sure I was quiet during the trailer, trying to be on my best manners.
No, I had you muted anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference.
Well, I muted myself first.
Okay, well, I apologize then. How the chat? How everyone? Thanks for coming. We've got Smiling Bandito here. We've got Primaris Chaplain F. Gusto. I'm just going to call you Gusto. Thanks for coming, man. He's wondering if I'm having some Vegemite. I don't eat Vegemite. Sorry, I'm very un-Australian in that sense. I was having some veggies, though. Not Vegemite. Mo Biggs is here. Hal Mo Biggs. Thanks for coming. Haven't seen you in a little while. Great to have you here. Z Rust is here. Hal the Bancroft Dreamers. Yeah, hell yeah. We getting pulled? Yeah, probably. I did show my trailer. I mean, who knows? It's got some,
It's spicy.
It's got some interesting, what would you call it? Amateurish audio on it of my voice acting. So it could get pulled. Antoine Dennison, always great to see you, buddy.
Could be deemed offensive.
Hey, Scotty Richards here. Scotty, man, I'm loving what you've been putting up lately. What's it called? Dirtworm Doug book. And I've invited Scotty to come on at some point. We can do another show with Camel Moon, hopefully. So I reckon that would be really cool. I'm going to be working on my animation, on my cartoon, for at least the next 3 or 4 days, just trying to get that out ASAP. So it'll be definitely good to talk to you guys.
Michael, you're talking about your EVS one? The much anticipated?
It is much anticipated. People keep talking about it like, oh God. And I've been working on my friggin' print, which has been taking me longer than I thought it would. Because, of course, I decide I'm going to draw something I've never drawn before and color something I've never colored before. So, yeah, that was a good idea.
Absolutely.
But, that's how I learn. Pretty much every single, almost not every single panel, but at least every single page of my comic. I try and put something in there that I've never drawn before. And I just sit there and I think, how the hell am I going to do this? So that's what I did. I don't know if you guys saw. So first point, I am back over 9,000. I was over 9,000 a day ago. And then China must have messed with us because our Aussie dollar dropped down, and I was back under. That was a bit disheartening. But then I got onto Tug's stream, and I think you saw me there, Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, so I went on there and did a little pitcher-rooney. He was having a call-in show, and got another backer. So thanks, Tug, and thanks for that backer. Thank you so much. And now we're back over 9,000.
Exactly. Where we should be.
Exactly. So, yes. And so, yeah. Oh, Mo Biggs, he's doing the hard work already. Yes, David Feed is coming on the show. He'll be here in about, about 20 minutes. He's coming on, and we're going to be talking about his book, Red Eyes.
I'm pretty excited.
I know. I owe that guy. I owe that guy big time. We all know what he did. His sacrifice. He laid down his life for mine on the
That's right.
battlefield of EVS's call-in show. And yeah, so I owe that guy big time. His book looks great, so it's going to be really cool to kind of meet him, pretty much, and chat to him, and get a feel of him, feel him up a bit, see what makes him tick.
I mean, Comic Skate is all about feeling people up.
Mhm.
It is. I think it's an ongoing theme.
We're all family around here. Very intimate family.
And we're not family. We're more like a brotherhood of quasi. I'm not going to go down that track. Let's just leave it there.
Yep. Pause. Just
Dang it, Mo Biggs beat me to the race. I'm sitting here trying to get all my windows open so I have links to everything to post, and boom, Mo Biggs got it. Dang.
Stay Samurai, you're privileged now. You're on the panel. Let other people do that work.
Okay.
Boom! The fans are showing up. Build it, and they will come. Hell yeah! We got people in here.
Oh,
Love
that
to
thing
see
looks
it.
cold. I was looking at that earlier. The coloring on that pinup is just it just reminds me of the coldest parts of the ocean, if you know what I mean.
Cold-blooded. Yeah, that's what I was going for. And I said that in the tweet. I hope it looks cold. It's it's almost all water.
Cold as
And
ice.
yeah. So you can just imagine this stuff all swirling around him. And but I do even when you do what would you call this, like a monotone? I mean, it's a blues, but I did put in a little bit of yellow on his highlights to make him pop out. And I did something as well that I don't normally do on this, which is what's that called? Color holds on the ink.
Okay, what is that?
That I always get these terms confused: color holds and color blocks and color bing bangs. I don't know. So yeah, it's when you color over the top of the ink. So I don't know
Okay.
if you can see it on this. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Here we go.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody call that a color hold the other day when they were talking about on top of the ink. So
Exactly. So you can see over here the ink is bluer,
Mm.
and here it's a slightly darker blue, and then here it's black. So that's the original ink there. So you've probably all seen it already. The full ink version. It was all black through here, so now that's blue. Makes him pop out of the background a little bit more. And then I've added in, shaded in blacks and stuff here and there, and yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. I don't know if I should have, but I did. I wanted to look cool, so I spent as much time as it needed, I think. Even though I seem to have everyone asking, "Where's my cartoon? Where's my cartoon?" I'll be getting back onto that this weekend, so hold tight. It's going to be good. Antoine Dennison says, "I have a very keen design sense." Thank you, Anton. That's very nice of you to say.
I like
it's-
the Helix DNA thing going on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've never really drawn him in action before. I did him. He's in the book in action, but it isn't quite how I originally envisioned it. And I think I've grown as an artist since I first drew him. So I'm going to go back and redo that panel. It's not going to look quite like this because this is the full detail, but it's going to look pretty similar. It's going to be a what do you call it? A lower resolution replication of something like this. And so that's how I originally envisioned it. The water kind of swirls all around him. The way I've got it in the book right now is it's kind of just rising upwards, and it looks good, but I think this looks better. So I'm going to go. That's one of the panels that I will go back and kind of redraw at least that element of it.
Nice.
Hey, David Feed, you're already here, brother. Good morning.
He's eager
Good
to
morning.
see
I haven't
Hello,
sent him the link yet because I thought we'd just come in and talk to Lucent for a little bit. But I'll send you the link shortly. Once we talk some stuff. Poland was just telling me that you were in a little bit of a Twitter kerfuffle earlier. And I've seen this Twitter kerfuffle, this little thing going around a little bit. I haven't really engaged with it because I thought it was just a bit of funniness and I was busy. Hey, Planet Tobor's here. Hey, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and everyone gets that poster. Everyone who backs gets, it's not a poster, it's a print. It's going to be on shiny card, I guess you would call it. So it's going to be, what is that, 8 1/4 by 11.5 inches. a bit bigger than the book. It's going to be the same size as the head sketch, and everyone gets it. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So yeah, what happened on Twitter, Poland?
Oh, well, the usual. People were accusing Comicsgate guilt by association. You know, someone was telling Liam in a tweet that how do we feel about there being white nationalists in Comicsgate? And I just thought this was, just a fallacy on its face, but I decided to engage for some reason. And we went down the rabbit hole in a few different places. There's always the accusation that because a movement that's a loosely associated people may have a few bad apples in it, and that just makes the whole thing rotten, which I think is just hilarious. I mean, that's like saying that because a country has a few bad apples in it, the whole country is damned. So I thought that's pretty silly. And then there was a discussion about Comicsgate people complaining about there being people of color in Asgard in the Marvel movies. And then I simply just responded that Wakanda is an ethno-state. So, I mean, what's the rebuttal there? And then apparently the rebuttal, which may surprise everyone, is that the various tribes in Wakanda make it multicultural. And then my response simply was, well, there's different clans in Asgard, so I guess it's multicultural. And they have frost giants. And that's where that conversation ended. And
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking exactly right. Like, it's so silly on the surface. Planet Tobor says, how does a person feel about having white nationalists on Twitter? Back in my earlier Twitter days, I would have engaged, definitely. And I would have been in there. And now I'm just, God, it's so stupid, But I guess if you just kind of feel like hammering that nail, you can engage.
It seemed like Liam was getting dogpiled, so I decided to hop in.
Yeah, it's especially, Liam. He's like a bull in front of a red flag when he sees stuff like that. He can't help himself. He has to charge in there, and you just kind of find yourself arguing with stupid, and it's just exactly like what. Anyway.
It's like, how many times have you beat your wife today? That's what that question reminded me of.
All of it is. All of it's that kind of accusatory thing.
Yeah.
There was something dumb the other day that they were posting about, was it Micah Curtis, and I did not see the root of it, so that's one error right there, just being dumb. Dumb on my part. But I went ahead and said, oh yeah, I think there's a little more context to this, like, X or Y. Micah, this is Micah's bizarre, and I don't mean bizarre in a negative way, I mean being goofy, response to showing up somebody who had been bullying him, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out this was a thread started by Doug TenNapel, and I didn't see that. And so suddenly it's like, you just don't say anything because the backlash is just not worth your time. Nobody takes it. It's not that he was actually responding to Doug TenNapel, which he actually was. It's that the issue is nobody reads anything with any giving you the benefit of the doubt. Everything is the worst possible construction. So yeah, I just started ignoring any of the replies I got and just let it go.
Antoine Dennison brings up a point that I'm sure this person would probably say is a white nationalist dog whistle, saying he finds it totally distracting to see multiculturalism in my European mythos, just as it would be to see whites in my Chinese historical dramas. And everyone, it is just so normal, and it should, for the longest time, it should have been, and it was, didn't need to be said. But now, if you say, oh, should, I don't know, Polish historical folklore be representative of modern London or something, or an American city, it's just ridiculous. But they'll kind of take that normal statement and, like Samurai was saying, just twist it in the most disingenuous way.
Something that was completely mundane and taken for granted before it kind of catches you off guard because it's something you never would have anticipated 3 years ago having to defend. But now here you are. People went after the Witcher games for the same reason.
Yeah, I was just
Like, why-
thinking The Witcher.
Yeah. So why is it not more diverse, quote unquote? Well, I mean, it's got a lot of monsters in there, a lot of creatures. I mean, it's pretty diverse, right? But of course, they only focus on whatever the arbitrary attribute is that they.
Arbitrary diversity, not actual diversity. Like, what was that woman's? That Star Wars woman. She laughed and complained that when someone said, "Well, white people are diverse," and she said, "Oh," as if that would be an impossibility.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. Mo Big makes a good point here. The term dog whistle is a dog whistle for people with no evidence or genuine points. Yeah, it's just projection. They
Whatever
dog whistle, so they hear dog whistles in everyone else. And I don't think, our side, us, when I say like Comicsgate or, that sort of thing, I don't think we're dog whistling at all. Well, at least I'm not, and I don't really hear that or read into it. But that's what they're accusing us of doing all the time. It's just projection.
I was told once that I was white passing. I'm not even sure what to think about that.
What is white passing?
It's when you look white enough to be white privileged, according to them.
Okay.
It's all Marxist language because even though I'm not actually what they would consider Anglo, ethnically white, I guess, by their definition, I still benefit from the power structure that they have imagined in their heads.
Okay. Well, a lot of people can't tell what my ethnicity is by looking at me, which is hilarious. So I've been called plenty of things, and I just let it go. I mean, I don't care.
Is this the kind of spice we should be expecting from David when he gets in here? Spicy David.
Okay, let's make this worse. If orcs are black people, then elves are the Asians.
It's funny you should. It's funny you should bring that up because I was reading an article earlier that says like literally all of the Asian minorities in traditionally Western countries like Australia, America, Canada, Europe, all of the Asian minorities, they're all the ones that are doing the best financially. They have the highest median incomes. So that's not a point that anyone ever seems to bring up. If it's just pure white privilege, then why are the Pakistanis, like why is the white person making, according to their argument, why are white people making 87 cents on every dollar that a Pakistani's making in America? They don't address that. It's because that would unravel their entire illogical hate white people argument.
It's all about narratives,
Exactly.
It's all about narratives.
Look
I
at
don't
Mo
think-
Biggs, just getting that.
No bigs. I'll keep feeding it to you as the night goes on. Don't worry.
My mouse is playing up. It's annoying me. So if you see things pop in and out, that's my mouse. I've got one of those trackpad things, and after a while they die and they start to just like phantom click on things. So if you see anything weird come in and out, that's because of that. Always something wrong.
Michael's gonna end up kicking himself from the stream.
Yeah, hopefully not. Shane say they are segregationists. They are, absolutely are. They are segregationists. That's what I've found, at least.
I just stick with the weirdos. They're just weirdos. I love that word. Ethan has given me a love for the word weirdos.
Yeah, I've been using that word a lot too, because you can really put a bit of pepper on it when you say it too. I'm going to show something as well. One sec here. Now I'm going to unshare this. Oh, see, look, it just popped back up again. Where is it? Is that it? There it is. So yeah, if you watched, was it yesterday? It seems like it was days ago. It was yesterday when I was chatting to Rob. And the stream got taken down after 12 minutes. I showed his video. We were chatting about Replicator. He was telling us about his annoying situation. And then the stream went down. And so I put up a new stream because it didn't look like it was going to go back up again like I've seen others do. And so I started a new stream and I thought, I guess that stream is gone. So I go back and I check. This is after the stream finished. I go back and I check my emails, and I don't know if you can make that out. Let me see if I can zoom in here. It says that upon review, so they've had a look at it. They say, upon review, we've determined that it violates our guidelines and removed it from YouTube. And almost instantaneously, as I got that email saying they've removed it from YouTube, it reappeared back on YouTube. Almost instantaneously. There's
It's like
obviously
this-
no one at the wheel there, that's for sure.
It's like somebody sending these emails out clicked the wrong box and sent you the "too bad, so sad" when they were restoring it. I don't know.
That sounds more fickle than my ex, Michael.
Bandito reckons my prawn. I'm guessing you meant porn will be exposed. Yeah, not at work. That would be a bad idea. Largo's here. How Largo? Thanks for coming. Yeah, just what is happening over on this site? We're on this site right now. It's just a bit weird.
Speaking of people being crazy on YouTube, I've been accused now several times of being either an alt account for other people or a sock puppet. So people now think I'm people I don't even know, and that I'm a sock puppet for Micah. I like Micah. He's he's a great guy, but he doesn't know what I do. The world is just ridiculous at this point.
Micah's actually streaming right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, that one's proven false then. You don't sound anything like Micah.
Well, this is not my voice, but on Twitter I've been accused of being a sock puppet for him. It's stupid.
Right. Yeah, I posted this. A lot of people replied to that tweet thread talking about Joe Rogan, saying, yeah, it's for someone like him, his whole show is just letting the conversation go where it leads and pulling things up and looking at it. And you're only pulling things up that are already on YouTube. It's not like you're going, not like you're pulling in porn sites or anything else. This is all stuff that's on YouTube. So it's just ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. So apparently you also a blue Muppet of George Kansas. I don't think you're crazy enough, Samurai.
They kind of sound similar. I gotta hand it to Delta there. He may be onto something. They both have blue in their names. Blue associated with them.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be. All right, I'm going to send David a link. So cool. David, I hope you're listening. Here it comes. And then we're going to get you in here and we're gonna probe you.
I wonder if Tatsunami is David's sock puppet account.
I think he is. I think that's almost guaranteed.
I think Kellaway is the sock puppet for your id, Michael.
Oh, really? Kellaway's here. My id has arrived.
I mean, just look at that image. That looks like your id.
Going to get this down. I'm going to try and be professional, get something up before he arrives. Make sure I share the audio.
Blue, Delta wants to know if you're Canadian.
No, I'm not.
That's your ethnicity? Canadian? All right, so now we wait. Now we play the waiting game. He should have been well prepared. Although he's got 5 minutes, he might be bring up a cup of coffee or something. So who knows? No, he's here.
All right.
Yeah, let's get him on. Bring him up full screen.
Good morning.
Good morning,
yes,
David.
Good morning, David.
Now, is it David? Because remember, it was Burning Stone at one point, wasn't it?
I was baptized by Mandy Sommer as David, so I guess I'm David now.
Okay, we'll call you David. Although I like to call you Dr. Burning Stone. I don't know if you've seen Jumanji. It just reminded me of the Rock from that movie.
I just saw the first Jumanji. I don't know the new one.
Yeah, no, the new ones are great.
Oh, okay. That's strange. Like all these new remakes and sequels are.
No, but it's not a remake. It's a
sequel.
It's a sequel. It's a completely different kind of movie too. They're hilarious. I love them.
Okay. No, that's good to hear. I don't know. I've seen so many shitty remakes and sequels. I'm like, no, forget it.
I'm with Mike on this. This is actually entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you've got a family, David, but you can watch it with your kids and your wife and everything.
I think maybe my wife already saw it with the kids. So, It's
There
just
you
me
go.
missing out.
It's just you. You're the one who's failing
I'm
at
missing
life.
out on the fun. Yes.
You know, all of us people who make comics, we have to make sacrifices, and one of those things is
Chickens.
is what? Chickens. Is
Kidding.
not watching what we want to watch all the time because we're promoting and working and, you know, getting ourselves out there. And that's what David's doing right now. David.
Oh, this is
David.
no sacrifice at all. I mean, now it's 6 in the morning, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
David
Yeah, we
really
already-
speaks volumes.
We already know the deep lore of David, how you went onto Ethan's call-in stream and plugged my book instead of your own.
That speaks
Which
volumes, David.
I think earned you, what do they call that, a life debt? So
No,
Yeah,
come
like-
on.
Chewy
Your book
Tooth
is
Han
pretty cool,
Solo.
so it's not like, you know, I was promoting something garbage and then it was like a sacrifice. No, I mean, the Lucent looks pretty cool, so it was.
No, it is pretty cool. So yeah, you're right about it. You've got good taste. So at least we know that. So yeah, before we get into your book, I like to get to know the man a little bit. So who are you, David Feed? What's your story?
Oh my. Well, I was born in Mexico and I've been in Switzerland since the last 14 years, more or less.
Wait. That's a strange thing. Come on, you can't just pass over that. You went from
Oh, okay,
Mexico to
then.
Switzerland?
So the thing is, I'm half Mexican, half Swiss. So that explains
Match
a
made
little
in
bit.
heaven. Hmm.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes, a mix made in heaven. And well, I was born and raised there, so my mother tongue is, you know, basically Spanish, and the second mother tongue is German or Swiss German. It's actually Swiss is more like an how do you say, a dialect of German.
Yeah, I couldn't.
And,
When I was fluent in German, I couldn't understand Swiss German to save myself.
It's so weird. Like, I knew German, but when I came to Switzerland, I was like, these people are talking like in slang and fast, and it almost seems like they were rapping or something. It's really strange when the first time you come here.
Yeah,
It's
I
also
couldn't even
funny-
understand how you count to 10. I'm like, what? I don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah, like each state here has like a different dialect or a slightly different dialect, and they have like slightly different words for stuff. It's very unique and special to Switzerland, this thing.
Yep. All right.
And-
So you're in Switzerland. You've been in Switzerland for how long did you say? 14 years?
14 years more or less, yes.
Yep.
And it's funny
Yeah,
because you said that about German, that German newscasters, when they interview people from Switzerland, they put subtitles because they don't understand us.
Matt says, Hail Swixican.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. Yeah, we also have Tatsunami, who's Japanese Swiss. So we got all the
Wow,
unique
the Swiss like to go outside to
Makes
find
sense.
the interesting combinations, don't they?
They don't like to breed with themselves, so they go out to breed with others or something like that.
All
I
right.
don't
So
know.
you're in Switzerland. You're thinking, I need to make a comic book. How'd that happen?
Also, I think I was in junior high. I think you call it in English. I was in junior high when I started. Well, I was always drawing in my spare time, everywhere, like in my school notes and stuff. And then some colleagues that were into fantasy told me, yeah, you should write down your story. And so I started writing it down. And, you know, it was more like a hobby. You know, I was doing my studies. I started studying biology. And then I changed to the design management, which was more management than design. But all the meantime, I was, you know, drawing in my spare time.
Mhm.
And I think it was really with your boy Zach that I first had the idea, like, to do something more public with my writing.
Yep. He did inspire a lot of us.
Yes. I mean, I was always thinking, okay, this is going to end up as a novel, you know, a fantasy novel like Lord of the Rings, or I don't know, what's the George Dingsbum's
This is
Game of
sounding
Thrones.
Familiar. This is sounding familiar to my story.
Oh, really?
going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I started
so-
as a novel as well. Keep going.
Okay, so it was. I think the first time I did it seriously was in this online sort of competition called NaNoWriMo, where you like write a whole novel during November, 50,000 words or something like that, where you set the goal to make 3,000 words a day. and that was the first time I really, sat down and from beginning to end wrote the first chapter, the first story arc. And so I was
Had
like,
you
okay,
written
so
anything, written anything until then? Like you said, you've been drawing, but had you written?
just here and there, like a few. I mean, I started, how to say, writing down the whole pantheon, the whole, the whole story of
Yep.
this world, a little bit here and there of how the story
deep
would
lore.
go. The deep lore, exactly. But nothing, nothing sequential. It's just like a little bit here and there. And I was, for the most, just drawing and studying or working. And yeah, but then I started watching your boy Isaac. Also, first was Captain Cummings, and what was his Englandine, I think was his name.
Yep.
Some of the and Micah Curtis before he was talking about comics. I mean, he was more like into social justice warriors, also
Yeah,
criticizing
because
them.
he's an old Gamergate guy.
Okay. No, I got late to the Gamergate party.
Yeah, that's
I remember-
Micah Curtis's pedigree there.
There you go. I
So
remember
you've
watching.
you've been in CG from the very beginning. Then you can say.
Yeah, but not actively. I was just like
Yeah.
listening to the streamers, and I thought, okay, yeah, sounds good. I had a bit of a rough start with CG because I remember putting my stuff in like Instagram and DeviantArt, and every time I would use the CG hashtag, I would get like shadow banned or something. Like all the how do you say, feedback would go to 0, and then I would post something normal, and then it would still be kind of shadow banned. So I got pretty discouraged with that, I gotta say.
Mhm.
I was like, oh no, maybe this is not not the way or something like that.
It's not good outreach if every time you post something it gets taken down.
Yeah, it was weird. But then like in Twitter, it was like a completely different story. Like I started using the hashtag, and people were like, oh look, another one. Oh good. I mean the feedback was totally different and very supportive, and there was feedback to begin with. So that encouraged me again to like, okay, let's do it. Let's like go out to the world and, hey, I'm CG, and here you go, here I am, check this out.
I don't know about you guys, but every now and then I go through my Twitter following, and I look for people who I don't know. I just look for people who I've seen around, like just posting annoying stuff, or just people I just don't want to follow anymore, or sometimes accounts are just inactive, stuff like that. I do that once every, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or so. You need to clean up your Twitter feed or your Twitter followers a little bit, because otherwise your feed just because otherwise your feed just becomes clogged with nonsense. And I was looking, and I found that one of the first ever comic people that I followed way back in the day, and I started this Twitter account back in 2014, I think, was none other than Rob Arnold.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've been
Okay.
we've been following each other, and you know what, sometimes on Twitter you follow people and you just don't really ever see them ever again. That's the algorithm. And I've been following that guy for like years and years now, and we just kind of didn't actually bump into each other until very recently. It's weird how that happens on that side. But anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting the story. Go on, David.
Oh, where was I? No.
You were talking about how on Twitter you got the exact opposite response to what you were getting when you were posting on other
yes.
outside forums.
Although, yes, the other thing that was pretty, I assume for the people outside of, also the other people looking at me, was pretty weird, is when I first started my Twitter, I was just following people left and right. And I was, like I was following Donald Trump, but I was also following Hillary Clinton, and I was following, like, what's this guy named? Sargon of Akkad, but I was also following his nemesis, this, there was this guy who was, like, blocking everyone left and right. Who was
Kraut?
famous for blocking people before that all those blockchains even became a thing.
Was that English
Steve
guy?
Shives.
Steve Shives.
Yeah, my goodness, I haven't heard from that one. So I was following, like all the
was,
people from all the different camps, and I think that the first time I went down to say, "Hey guys, I'm CG," and people would look at my following and say, "Hey, this guy's SJW. What the hell? Go away."
Yeah,
That
I
will-
always wonder if if I ever become notable enough that someone goes to who I follow, what they're going to make of me. Because yeah, I've got some interesting characters in there.
Well, I
It
found it
will be funny.
interesting to follow some of these crazy people because the things they say, even today, the things they say are so outrageously crazy that it's interesting to see what they say.
That is so true. Steve Sharp. My God, I don't know if you guys know of a YouTuber called Atheism is Unstoppable, but man,
Yeah.
he has
I'm familiar
destroyed
with it.
Steve Shives in ways that are just glorious to behold.
Michael, have you ever seen his remixes? His video
Yeah,
remix?
yeah. I've been watching ARU for many years now.
Yeah. The
Not
guy's
lately because I'm more focused on comics, but yeah, he's a good guy.
David, I was going to say you're sticking true to your roots. You're staying in the middle. You got Trump on one side, you got Hillary. You're just coming in here a neutral party, trying to figure things out.
Very,
Yeah, well,
very Swiss, very
that's the
neutral.
thing. It took a while. It took a while for Comicsgate to figure this out. I think that Comicsgate needs to be apolitical. We don't really talk about it, and if we do, it's not in a way that we're disparaging other people. I know there's definitely guys in this chat right now who are left, and I'm super happy that they're here and that they feel comfortable here. There's obviously a lot of conservatives in Comicsgate. It was kind of, born out of that. The conservatives were the ones who are being blacklisted. So of course, they're going to gravitate towards it. But it definitely, it took a little while to figure out. We need to be here for everyone who believes in what we believe.
We want to make
Comicsgate,
good entertainment.
comics related, exactly, good entertainment. And and I think the books that are more successful are the ones that do that. And I was always very vocal, hitting back at, not hitting back, but saying Ethan is not correct when he says there can't be any politics in any of these books. I think there can be, as long as it is
Entertaining.
entertaining, number one, and it sells, and it's upfront. So if you're doing like a political satire comic, it's up front. Everyone sees it on the front. You're not selling it as a fantasy story that you're going to do a bait and switch and trick everyone when they're halfway through it, when they've already paid all their money, and now all of a sudden it becomes a pamphlet, and you're just putting yourself on a soapbox yelling at the audience. So that's sort of where I stand on that. But the actual people and the movement and the kind of the crowd, that needs to be open to any political stripe. That's the way I see it.
And so
Yeah, I
if
think
it's not upfront as a satire, then it needs to be something so far in the background that you just can't have a book without a thing in the background, and then it becomes food for thought and applicable to anybody on either side. It's more flexible, like the X-Men was. It's more
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, like my story even has political. I guess you could interpret them as political themes underpinning, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not going to be
propaganda.
really on the nose, and you're not going to come away from it thinking, oh, if you're on the left, oh, that was a really insulting book to me. It's not going to insult anyone's political beliefs, because it's metaphorical, it's figurative, and it's in the themes, in the background and stuff like that.
Metaphorical without being a direct, blunt allegory. That's just thin veneer.
And it's not partisan either. I think both on the left and the right, people get their hackles up against totalitarians and authoritarians.
I think that's a really good point. That it's stupid. I mean, it's fun to have it's fine to have politics if it's entertaining, but if you become partisan, you're basically denying a whole part of your audience, or like rejecting a whole part of your audience, because obviously some of them are going to be more to the left or more to the right, and if you start demonizing one side.
That's right. That's the thing. You can't demonize an entire swathe of people, because that's sort of what CG was, born out of. And that we were saying you shouldn't be demonizing us or these people, because of just what they have a difference of opinion in how some legislation should be made. It's ridiculous. So yeah. Anyway, we're getting way off track here. We're supposed to be talking about David. Your book. So okay. So now you decided you've listened to Zach. You decided, I've got some skills here, and I'm going to put that into action. I've seen these guys out there doing it. Why not me? Is that sort of how it came about?
Yes, that's exactly how it came about. I remember when Zach was having his Patreon.
Yep.
And he started doing his first, tryouts with comics. He did like a one page Batman story, and he was trying to do some sort of a Riri Williams, short story.
Yep.
And then Ironside. Also, he already had the Jawbreakers in the background, and then he started talking about Ironside, and yeah, that's kind of what kicked me into the gears, I think you say. I say, hey, I can do this too. Let's forget about the novel and do this in a comic.
Man, there's anyone who listens to my show regularly is probably hearing a lot of similarities between the way you got into it and I did as well. Sometimes you just, there's a lot of the same things that happened in my background as you. So that's cool to hear.
Okay.
All right, so
I've heard some of your streams. I didn't know it was like that.
It's not exactly, it makes sense. The same, but it does, doesn't it? Like you see, there's so much energy here.
Accept it.
Yeah, but you're the writer and the illustrator, right? I mean, like you do everything in your book.
Yeah. People say that like it's really surprising. There's a lot of us who do it though. There's Narwhal. There's Carlo Rowe. There's a couple of other guys as well. It has its pluses and negatives.
I can imagine, but I mean,
found out
awesome.
yesterday.
I think it's awesome when you have the talent to do both things, because like each of them is, at least in my taste, such a unique world on its own. Writing and drawing is not the same skill.
Oh yeah, it's very different. So you've got to kind of. Luckily for me, I could already draw, and I just found it pretty easy to replicate what I see out there, and kind of pull in those styles and get the drawing done. So it wasn't too much of a hassle for me to learn how to draw a comic. It was a bit of a long road to learn how to color a comic book, but the writing, that's taken a long time. That was a skill that I kind of had to almost learn from scratch, because high school didn't really teach me that sort of stuff. But okay, let's talk about.
I had almost like the completely opposite. Like I knew how to write, and I've been writing a lot all the time.
Yep.
But I cannot draw professionally to save my life. So like, no. If I should put this in a decent time, I need people to help me, because if it's with my own drawings, this is going to take like, I don't know, 20 years to have like 2 pages, and forget it.
Yeah, people have sometimes asked me, how long does it take to be able to learn to draw like this? And I've just been straight up. It probably take you at least 20 years to learn how to draw like this.
Because that's what I hear, and I just get like, oh my god, no. Okay, fuck it.
Yeah, if you're an adult wanting to get into drawing, be prepared. You really, the best time to start is when you're a young man, so a young boy, even like 13, 14, because it's very rare that someone will pick it up and just get a handle on it straight away. It takes decades to get yourself to a point, at least where I am now, where I can kind of look at what other people are doing and say, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to incorporate something like that into my style. And and even now, I'm not saying I'm, the best artist out there. There's, I consider myself, like, people look at my art and they say, oh, it's pretty good. That's sort of where I'm aiming for. I'm not Rob Willis or what's that guy, Aaron Alfeci, but I'm trying to tell a story more than anything. Like, the art in my story serves the story. I'm trying to tell a story here more than become the best comic artist in the world.
But that's also a skill in and of itself, learn to, where can you cut corners and still look good, but then you're fast. I mean, this is also a skill, not drown yourself in the detail or lose all your time in the details and Okay, boom, 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 quickly you
That's
have
the
one page, the
skill.
next page.
That's the skill side of drawing comics. That's something that I found very difficult to learn because I never did that before. Drawing on timelines and learning how to do things in small details, like without going overboard on it. So that's actually been something that's been probably the most difficult thing for me to learn line art wise. Mo Biggs, that's a funny comment. We shouldn't laugh. I found it really funny. Not funny. I mean, I just found it weird that
Sorry, I just read it.
the Lucent from the get-go, when I put it up as a pre-launch page, was on top of Magnificent 7 pretty much the entire time it was up. And I just thought that was really weird. Like, Smilla's a name, and he's got books behind him, and so I worry for where he'll be when he finally launches that thing.
Yeah, I worry for his family.
Anyway, let's not go down that dark path. Let's keep it positive.
No, I'm trying to read at the same time as I talk. That doesn't work. There's somebody had a great comment here about it helps if you played D&D. I can't find it, but I wanted to find out. Was that regarding learning to draw? It helps if you played D&D.
I think he was talking about writing.
Oh, writing. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. But Comics with Drew had a great comment here too, that you're as good. Great. This thing scrolled. Can't find anything. You're as good at drawing as the day you stopped as a child. Wow. If you don't
that makes a little bit of sense.
He's saying if you stop, then that's as good as you're ever really going to be. Like people like me, I just never stopped. I didn't do it like all the time throughout my life, but I was making art all the time, and the drawing just kind of came along with it. So yeah, when people ask me, I said, look, it's going to take decades unless you're some kind of savant. Most of us, it takes a really long time. And then when you want to try and learn comics, now you got to learn shortcuts. So, I've taught myself how to just be able to ink straight away. So there's no sketching a lot of the time. I just ink, right? And that's something that I was able to do because I do digital, that I can kind of go back, and if something's wrong, I can easily change it. So you just got to find new ways to make it faster and faster, but without losing too much quality. It is a real difficult thing to do. So anyway, we're getting off track again. Red Eye. All right. So we're here now. We've learned a bit about yourself, and that's good. I think people that's why you come onto a stream. Like, we could just go onto your page and sort of see what you've got, but you get someone on a stream, let's learn a bit about who they are as a creator and where they're coming from. So we've learned that, and I think we all liked that story that you had. I think all of us probably relate to it a little bit. I know I do. It sounds very familiar. I think you've copied from me, frankly.
Maybe I do. No, also, one of the things that I find very important when it comes to any sort of creative process is that, and they tell you all the time in literature classes, is that whatever you're doing, animation, movie, comic, you should write a book about it, even if it's just for yourself, to make sense of the whole story and to give the story a flow, or like beginning, middle, and end, and so forth and so on. So even if you're doing just a video game, they tell you it's recommended that you write a book about this a story. I mean, you don't have to know how to write, just as crap as it would be, but just to have everything structured in your mind.
Yeah, right. I've done a lot of internet arguing in my time on forums, and one thing I've learned, it's pretty humbling, is I don't really know my opinion on something until I've written it down in writing, because then you kind of you can't hide all your contradictions within yourself that you do in your head all the time. We all have things that we believe that contradict each other a little bit, and I always found it a really good exercise to try and argue with people on the internet, on forums, not on Twitter, because you can't formulate anything long, and it does sort of crystallize things in your head. You get to see things from a new perspective. So that could be a good exercise to do, what you're talking about there, like put everything into perspective by putting it into writing.
I think it also helps you with the mistakes that you write something, have someone read it. I mean, it's a friend or someone close to you, and then they can point out the things that are completely. I think that sometimes when you're in your story, you're so deep inside the story that you don't even realize that some things are contradictory. Like you have this character who is a coward, and all of a sudden he comes out and does this insanely brave act, and people from outside read it and say, you know what, that doesn't make sense, man. Like you got to change this.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
someone who's afraid of the dark, and the next page he's like dancing in a dark room. Like, wait, wasn't he afraid? Like, no, that doesn't make sense. So it's also good in that sense to have some sort of feedback of what you're doing and correct these contradictions, or if there are contradictions that are good, maybe you need to explain them better also.
You have it's really difficult when you're writing a story. You're kind of in the middle of the forest, so you're just sort of looking at the trees up close. So you can't see the whole thing all the time, and you can't see how it looks to other people. It might seem perfectly clear to you because it's in your head.
Yes.
The other person
exactly.
is like, I don't understand this. Smiling Bandito wants to debate me. You debate me. I'll debate you. What do you want to debate?
If you
We'll
want this
debate
book never to get drawn, sure, we'll spend time debating.
My goodness.
So, all right.
Okay,
so tell us about Red Eyes.
Also, Red Eyes. It's a dark fantasy saga. So, of course, in the background there is this whole world-ending conflict, as you usually have in Lord of the Rings, and so forth and so on. However, the episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, foreseeably, is going to be a contained story. It's going to be about this group of 9 insurgent fighters who are in a very difficult, desperate mission. And specifically about the guy in the middle, the one with the blue tattoos and the blonde hair.
Yep.
And he's the son of one of the higher ups in this insurgent movement. And he's just, like a spoiled brat. He screwed up one too many times. And before his sentence to death, his father is like, whoa, hold on. He intervenes and sends him in this mission of penance.
Oh.
So he is sort of like, you know what, son, you've cost me too much money and reputation, so you're going to go in this mission, and if you come back, awesome, and if you die, then you're going to die for the glory of the insurrection movement.
It's a last chance story, a redemption story.
It's a redemption story for this poor bastard. And all the other guys around him, the other 8, they all have their own reasons to be in this mission. Some of them are, like, hell yeah, this suicide mission sounds awesome. The cats are at least like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the mentor is sent in this mission. Also, the mentor is the guy with the flaming sword. He's sent in this mission because he's the only one who can see this mission succeed, sort of. And there you go. So the episode 1 starts when they are already in the middle.
When you say fantasy, are you talking like high fantasy? Are you talking just like monsters and creatures, and it's set in a different world altogether? It's on its own sort of world?
Yeah, I think this would be more high fantasy than low fantasy or urban fantasy. It's definitely another world because there's magic. There's this monsters and fantasy creatures, and there's like locations that would not exist in our world. Like forests are always half sunken in water, almost like a swamp, and stuff like that. However, it's more. I tried to make it as realistic as possible in the sense that weapons they don't have infinite ammo. So if you shoot, you have to reload. Or magic is not so crazy that you just snap your finger and destroy a city. So it's like you have to prepare, you have to make a ritual and so forth and so on. I mean, you still get giant monsters, obviously, no, but
it's got to be grounded in something for there to be stakes and for us to care and for the characters to have real struggles and everything, even though it is fantastical.
Yeah,
so it looks like
my
just looking at the buildings here and the clothing, it's sort of. I know it's not set in the world, but it's kind of a bygone time kind of thing. I'm thinking here.
So these pencils we're looking at, they're by Christian what is it?
Culicelli.
Culicelli? Okay. I'm looking at the credits down below.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is like the pages.
Bottom.
I'm posting them as they're getting colored.
Yep.
I'm updating it,
hmm
and the lettering's by your boy Eric Weathers. It's
Now,
like
is-
lettering everything.
I
Is
want to
he
get
le- Oh.
I want to get Eric and Farah Nurmaliza on the channel together. These guys are the two people who've been on the most books for sure. I think Eric's been on more, but Farah's coloring, so that's another ball game altogether.
now, is-
Yeah, I've heard
is-
her name pop everywhere.
Yeah, she's good because she's on everything.
Yes, it's like okay, awesome. For her. I
So
don't know.
who's on your team?
It's all it's like the Italian connection. The artist, his name is Culicelli,
Mhm.
and a friend of his, he did the covers. Also, he did the color for the covers.
Yep.
His name is Guardino, and the interior colors are done by this girl called Valova. She's from Slovakia, I think.
I like how you've got a real mix of. I mean, if you got like a cowgirl over here, you've got sort of like some dark knight, some executioner. This guy looks like a bit of a conquistador or something. It's,
Yeah, that's awesome that you're recognizing these inspirations.
Yeah, cool. Like, and I didn't even know what's going on down here, but I guess we're gonna find out.
So
David,
the naked chick, she's a shapeshifter, so it doesn't make sense for her to
Yep.
wear clothes because if she transforms into this giant skull-faced snakes, all the clothes would be,
So
ripped
you
off.
are really grounding it in reality. I was trying to think of something. We were talking in a writing stream the other day, and we were talking about plot holes. And we were saying that in fantasy, plot holes are unavoidable, but you got to
Yeah.
make them small enough that you can't the story can't fall through them. For instance, in superheroes stories, a lot of the plot holes revolve around their suits, their costumes, and their armor and everything, because it couldn't just slow the story down to an untenable degree if you're kind of getting into the minutiae of, well, how exactly does Peter Parker stick on the walls through his cloth and all that sort of stuff. But you really are going realistic. Like, yes, if she transformed into something else and she's got clothes on, clothes are gonna get in the way of that.
Yeah, so of course, she transforms, like that's already fantastical. But I think people have a certain suspension of disbelief that they are willing to accept. But I think
Yeah.
people would be willing to accept that she has clothes and the clothes transform with her. But I just found it, like, okay, this is a way to have her naked and a way to have it more close to what the vibe of the story going realistic. So it serves two purposes, really.
So
Yeah, totally.
About the
No, go on.
lettering for this, it's Eric Weathers is doing it. Is he doing it in German and Spanish as well?
So far he's doing it in English, only in English.
Okay.
And also the German translation, I'm working on it right now. The Spanish one is finished, and I thought of doing have everything ready in English, and then once it's done and all the bubbles are in the place, or sound effects, then we can translate it to Spanish. At least that's my idea right now.
Okay.
David, how did you get this this team together? It sounds like y'all are from all over the place.
Also, I went to Fiverr of all places, and then I started.
That's the first.
Yes, I'm my goodness. Also, at first I started asking around in DeviantArt, and people were so insanely expensive that was like, no, fuck this shit. So I went to Fiverr, and I just started commission people left and right until I found someone that kind of matched my style. And then that was a Culicelli, and he introduced me to a lot of the other guys. Also, the girl who's doing the logo and the layout is a friend of his. The Guardino guy who's doing the colors on the covers is a friend of his. And the only one that I found elsewhere was the colorist. I found her in ArtStation.
And how are they? What do they think of Comicsgate? Are they friendly?
I have no idea. I'm afraid to ask
They don't
sometimes because I think they either don't care
They just don't care.
or they
You know
don't
what I
know.
found? That the Europeans are just totally divorced from all this stuff. It just all seems to be centered around the Portland mafia. They're the ones that you run in trouble to, but the Europeans really don't give that much of a crap about any of it because they're kind of doing the Comicsgate model and have been doing it for so long anyway, and it's working great for them. You know, they put out high quality books once or twice a year, and you know, they have a successful industry, so they don't give a crap what as Samurai likes to say, some weirdos on on Twitter are saying about all this stuff. They just want to make good stuff. So
I think that everyone on my team is very, very left and like liberal, and like I've seen in their Twitters and in their profiles that they are very pro LGBTQ, etc. But I don't think they just don't care. They just don't know. Yes, they're just normal people who want to draw. And then if you ask them like, oh, are you customer service? Yeah, of course, customer service. That's no white national.
Normal. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like we kind of associate being on the left or being pro LGBTQ or other things to the SJWs, but we shouldn't, because I mean most people share a lot of these values, left and right, freedom and free association and do whatever you want and all that stuff. It's just that the SJWs take it to a bullying level, and I really think that's what separates them from everyone else. They want to control everything and want to bully anyone who tries to stop them. I think that's sort of the difference. And as long as you're a normal person, I don't think anyone in CG is going to have any problem with people on the left or.
The SJWs they're gonna force you to bake that cake.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, bullying. That's a good word for it. It's more about bullying.
It's created a distinction between the left and liberals. It really has. Where I feel sorry for liberals because the left is now coming down on them. But I do have another question about the book though. So do we have a minute or two to talk about this bestiary thing?
We have plenty of minutes. We've still got half an hour to go. I'm taking an extra lunch break today. Came in a bit early, so.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Michael. That's excellent.
Kind of you, man. Like I said, I owe you a life debt, so I'm waiting for the
oh my goodness,
for the names to come later.
I already bought your book, so no way. That makes it even worse. Just
what did you want to ask? What did you want to ask, Blue?
Oh, well, if I think I understand a bestiary just to be a page-by-page dictionary of monsters, and they're kind of for fun. Is that what this is? What is it?
Also, I think it's similar to a bestiary as you would find them in other fantasy things, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and so on. But it's spiced up with it's a sexy monster girl bestiary. So at least 10 of the species of this world are going to be featured with some nice pinups. That's the idea. And it's going to have
porn, basically. You're saying it's fairy porn. That's what you're saying.
No. Oh my god! It's if you're into that, is that. If you're not into that, it's definitely not that. Let's say it that way.
You're very diplomatic. I like it.
Very diplomatic.
So
let's talk about
neither fairy nor furry nor both. But okay.
Also,
if
you're into furry and fairy porn, and knock yourself out, man. you do you, man.
Dungeon Master perk. Okay, so this is your featured perk, and you get one of everything, true Dungeon Master fashion. So you get the Red Eye episode 1. And how long is this book? Sorry, did I see that earlier?
It's 46 pages.
Ooh, nice. Okay, it's written right here. Sorry, yes. Is my screen doing weird things? I'm seeing weird things. It's all looking all good on your end.
It's jumping a little bit, but it's.
It could be my mouse as well. Anyway, so 46 pages, good. That's good. And then you got an ash can. What's the ash can? What's that about?
That's the episode 2. As an ash can of episode 2 as a preview for everyone.
Yes. Good. That's good. So is that all done, or is that sort of still in progress, right?
The ash can is done. The ash can is completely done now. Yeah.
Excellent.
The episode 1 is getting colored and lettered at the moment. But the art is done.
Excellent.
Also, the story is done, the art is done. It's just the letters and the colors are coming in.
All right, and then
Um,
you get the bestiality book. I mean, bestiary. Sorry.
No problem.
That's the sexy monster book. It's the
The
sexy
Sexy
monster book.
Monster book is
Yep.
it's getting done at the moment, because the thing is that when I started the campaign, I was not going to include that. I think I heard about this idea in the Raging Golden Eagle. He was talking about including some sexy monster girl bestiary pages in his book, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do like a proper book for it.
Hmm. Yeah, man, that's what CG is all about. Like just seeing what other people are doing really well, and copying them, doing what works, and dropping what doesn't. I think what's his face, Camel Moon. I think his campaign is going to go off. I had a discussion with him, and he's got some really cool ideas about things to put in his book. He's putting in a sticker page. He's going to have like holographic stickers. I think that's going to get copied. People are going to see how awesome that looks. So yeah, if you hear something someone else is doing that's doing, working for them, definitely see if you can copy that.
That sounds horrible, but it's true. There's this saying that say great artists they create, but even better artists steal, or something like that.
Good artists copy, great artists steal. No,
There
that's
you go.
that. I mean, I'm all on board with that, and it's just doing what works. And we've seen as well with Sean Gordon Murphy. He just pretty much, ignored so many of the lessons and the failures that Comicsgaters had to overcome over the last 3 years. And his book is now, I think, getting its butt kicked by another book on Kickstarter by people in the industry as well. They've made like over 200,000. He should be on 200, 300, 400,000, and I think he could have been if he'd
been more on live streams and with the people.
Exactly,
and
he'd sort of
talking.
followed the path. He didn't have to be comics.
He's riding
mate.
the
He
fence
just
too much.
Follow the
I
path. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's just a
Exactly.
terrible wedgie.
Yeah, it is. It really.
Didn't know what you were saying then. Oh, yes, it is. It's a terrible wedgie. It's painful, and it doesn't really win you anything. So,
Do you not have wedgies in Australia?
of course, we have wedgies. I was just like, I'm trying to think who's getting a wedgie.
When you get wedges in Australia, you just hit the floor because everything's upside down, right?
We get dacked here. We call it dacked, which is when you just pull the pants down.
The toilets spin the opposite direction.
Everyone has a story from primary school where they got dacked in front of everyone. That's
we just call that
embarrassment.
pantsing, which really should be de-pantsing, but whatever.
Yeah, getting pantsed.
No, I figured being in Australia with everything on the other side, you probably a wedgie to you is probably what we call a Melvin. It's on the front.
Oh no,
No.
we call a wedgie. No, it's the same. It's the same thing. We would have gotten it from you guys, I'm sure. So we would have seen it in some movie, and now it's immortalized here as well. All right, so you've got just the comic and the ash can here, so that you don't get the Sexy Monster Girl book. That's $21. That's a very reasonable price there for.
I gotta say, like, I always forget to say this. In the United States of America and in Switzerland, the shipping is included in the book. So it's $20. That includes the shipping. And the other thing I always forget to mention is that the international backers, it sucks, but it's so expensive. So the price for shipping to the rest of the world is quite high. However, what I wanted to do, I put it somewhere in the content or in the updates, is that everyone who backs the Comic Plus Ashcan internationally is going to get the Sexy Monster Girl Bestiary also. And everyone who backs the Dungeon Master perk internationally is going to get a high quality print included. So there's at least a little bit of,
Well, what you need to do is you need to make banners of that and put that up the top, because they're really
Definitely.
big selling points.
You
You
know
really
what?
need
Yes,
to make
yes.
that as known as possible. Like if this is free shipping in the States, that's a huge
Yeah.
selling point. Like I can't even stress how big of a selling point that is. And
Now-
if you get extra stuff if you're international, again, big selling point. So yeah, I would make that sort of front and center even.
Yes, I wanted to
because-
do, but then when you claim a perk, like you cannot change
Yeah, you
it
don't have
anymore.
to put it. Yeah, I know. It would be good if you could change them. I would love to have added, the poster next to the comic. Now that stretch goal got under the print. Sorry, I keep calling it a poster. The print as well as the comic on the image in the perks, but they won't let you change it. Now just put it in your content area. even put it like up the top somewhere, because it's a huge that's something I would be pushing a lot if I were you.
I'm gonna maybe change the cover and for the whole project, so everywhere they click on it, they see that immediately. Yeah, I have to find a solution to that put it somewhere, front and center, as you say.
Yeah, because I've looked
Absolutely.
at this several times and I did not know that.
So you're saying that middle perk there with with just the 2 books, it says 21 on the display here. You're
Mhm.
saying that are you saying that people outside the U.S. getting this $21 also get the bestiary?
Yeah, but the thing is that the shipping cost is quite high. I don't know. I was copying other campaigns and I put $40 just to have something placed there, and then people started claiming it and said, okay, it works. But then comparing it to other campaigns, I think it was a bit too much. So I was like, okay, for $40, to include the bestiary would be good, and if they take the bestiary, it would be good to have a print, because the Dungeon Master perk, yes, the shippings are the shipping cost is a little bit less. It's 35.
Okay, so good for the non-Americans, I guess.
So, David, is anywhere in the EU also considered international?
Also, Switzerland is the shipping is free, because I'm here and we're gonna print from here too. But everywhere else it would be international. So Germany is international.
Oh, wow. So they would be paying that high cost as well.
So
unfortunately.
How are you?
People need to figure out the
shipping. How are you maneuvering this for the States then?
Also, we're gonna print in the States. I have someone. Also, my sister lives in the States, so I'm gonna coordinate with her to have it print there and ship and deliver there.
Yeah. So you got some people are saying, they're going to definitely promote the hell out of that, because it's a big thing. Can't wait to get this book. Yeah, this is, and especially now that you've it looks great. It sounds great. We really like the sound of you, David. And then on top of it, you add this little cherry on top for US backers, and also it's a pretty good cherry. Like, it's actually quite competitive now that I looked at the price. For when you think of everything that you're getting. So I'm international. I hope my mouse isn't screwing up. I'm seeing weird things. I'm international, so if I get just a comic in the ash can, I'm gonna get that sexy monster girl thing as well. And it's all actually price-wise, it's actually very competitive, even with the high shipping. So I would spruik the hell out of that, man.
All right. Yes. You see, there you go. It's a learning experience. PG. That's awesome.
Yeah, because the shipping, it's a real sore point for everyone, for absolutely everyone. Because people, you want to sell. US guys want to sell their books around the world, and there's it's a big chunk of it. Like probably they could get 30% of their whole sales go internationally. So they need to figure it out. And each country is different, and it's pretty annoying in that sense. I know that a lot of guys lose a fair amount of money on the international shipping, and then for us international guys, we've got to stay competitive. So we have to, take a little hit on our shipping as well, just to sort of make sure that we're even just competitive with the US market. So if someone can figure this stuff out, I know a lot of people are kind of talking about it and looking into it, but I think that's probably a little ways off. Just now.
I have the same. Like, I live in Switzerland. Every time I back a book, it's like sometimes the shipping is higher than the book, and it's always like backing 2 books in one go. So it forces you to be so much more selective in I want to support so many more CG projects. I was like, oh shit, no, I don't have that much. Yeah,
I was not backing anything for a while because I was saving up for Honeycomb Box, and since then I just decided, look, I'm going to start backing people, because you can actually claim these books as research on your tax, because you're going to be getting them, you're going to be seeing how they're packaged, and you're just going to be reading them because they're your competitors, and you're going to see, is this person in their book doing something, and so that's that's the way I'm justifying it right now, paying these high prices, because I can say, well, at least I'm giving money that I'm earning back into CG and not giving it to the government.
Okay, I like
Antoine
humanity too.
asks,
Yes.
how do people lose money on shipping if the buyer pays the shipping? Well, here in Australia, if I were to say you guys, the customer, the backer, is going to pay for all of my shipping plus a little bit extra to cover time and all that sort of stuff, my labor, so to speak. The shipping, instead of being $12, would be $20, $25 even, maybe, if I were to absolutely want to cover absolutely everything. So basically, I'm giving my time for free on the shipping. But actually, I hope my wife isn't listening. I'm going to make her do most of it. So.
Well, my sister is not listening either because she's going to have to go a lot.
Yeah.
Is her name also Andrea?
Thank God for CG wives. That's all I'm going to say, because without them, a lot of us wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. No, and I'm taking a small hit. I'm not charging you guys for all the extra little bits, like extra bits of cardboard and backing boards and all that sort of stuff, just because I want to stay competitive. I don't want people turned away when they go to back the book and then they see that big shipping number, because I'm sure, as anyone knows who's international, it'll come up in the currency that project is listed under. So if you're not paying close attention, you might think that the shipping on my book is $19 US, which it isn't. But that's what it says. It says $19. And I mean, you have it's completely reasonable if you're in the US and you've got your currency set to the US, that if Indiegogo tells you that the shipping is $19, that you would assume it's saying $19 Australian and $19 US. Sorry, it's not. It's $19 Australian. And so there's already so many hurdles stopping people from purchasing that I just tried to stay as competitive as possible.
CG World Order has a question.
Yes?
CG World Order asks, is free shipping just for that one perk or all perks?
All perks, United States included and Switzerland included.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. Oh, she's here. She's listening. She knows. She knows what's going on.
See, Comicsgate is going to spawn one of these Lifetime original movies, The Wives of Comicsgate.
We could do a show. How good would it be? The Wives of Comicsgate, they're just sitting there getting cardboard cuts on their fingers as they're packing comics into the boards.
And you have,
oh my God.
And you have Carla, where it's the opposite. I think her husband's going to be doing the packing for their book.
Yeah, well, she's the artist, so
right.
There's actually 3 married couples that I know of, and I can't remember who they are now, but I have remembered them. There's 3 married couples who are putting out books together. Oh, there's the Skits team as well.
Oh yeah,
and there's another one, but I can't remember who they are right now.
Isn't Charlie London also married and doing together with her husband? You know, the one with the Charlie Chaplin book?
Oh, maybe. Yes, I know her husband is. I know she has a husband. I don't know how involved he is. I haven't really. House of R says, when you ship, make sure you label it comic books. Comics they tax, books they don't. Well, thank you for that. That's a helpful little tidbit there. We don't want we don't want people having to pay tax on imports and all that sort of nonsense if it can't be helped.
Jason Black was mentioning something about my book, promoting it, saying that you want to get your bestiality stuff weird. So how would you tax that? I mean, do you have to put like this contains very questionable things? Or?
Well, wait. Let's take a look at that. The second image in the thumbnails up at the top is a sample, and I find it frightening. So, yeah, up a little.
Brad, the investigator, wants Sandra Bullock to play Mel, my wife, in the TV movie of Wives of Comicsgate. You can see
Sandra.
that.
I appreciate Sandra.
She likes it. Yeah. She'd do well.
I would say that now that you mentioned the cowgirl, she may or may not be inspired by my spouse. So I would like someone that looks like that, maybe.
Okay, let's have another look. Where was
you
I?
have to go to the top.
It was up here.
The second image.
The second image.
No, there.
There she is. Ah, yes,
There
very
she is.
nice.
She may or may not be inspired
Yeah,
by someone
not
very close to
confirmed.
me.
But just,
Exactly, not confirmed. You know.
It's like when I do my cartoons and people say who is the land whale and who's the person sitting in the kitty litter, and I always say I will neither confirm nor deny any likenesses. I should even put the little disclaimer saying all these any likenesses to real persons are completely coincidental.
Exactly.
Don't want to get in
Illustrated
trouble.
book.
So David, it seems like your book pulls from a little bit of steampunk because I see guns. We got the anthropomorphic stuff. It kind of reminds me of Thundercats, and then we got some of this death metal stuff going on here. So it seems like you got a pretty varied setting that you're putting this all in.
Oh yeah, so definitely, heavy metal is an inspiration, and you have something more like in a painting style, I think you call it, which is more like a
Painterly?
European style.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's not really steampunk. This world, there are no, like steampunk machines, at least not yet. The way I see it is that this is a world where the Industrial Revolution just happened, so there are no, like trains and stuff like that. But it's, it has the magic and all these other things. It's not so advanced that you would have like a machine gun or a train. So it's like they have some weapons, but also my idea is that the weapons would look very, very different. But then the artist, they took their own, how do you say, liberty to interpret the weapons differently from what I had in mind. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, that's fine.
So the weapons magic based, or are they?
No, they're powder.
Okay.
Gunpowder based. So.
And there are people in this world they're like wizards, I suppose. They can use magic and others can't. Is that how it works?
Also, the way it works with magic is that everyone can use it, but no one really, kind of like drawing. Everyone can draw, but you would have to go like for 20 years training hard to be able to do something decent with magic. So most people just don't.
Good. I like that.
It's very tame, kind of like Lord of the Rings in that sense.
Yeah, so like very, very absolutely basic magic, everyone could be able to do maybe eventually. But if you want to be able to throw like a fireball, you would need to be probably 10 or 20 years training to be able to do something like that. So it's very contained. It's not absolutely crazy. And the same with weapons, like there are weapons that you shoot and then you have to put another bullet inside and compress the powder and then you can shoot again. So it's, how do you say, it's not, it's a little bit, as far as you can make it, based on reality. Also magic is more based in reality in the sense that it's the kind of energies that already exist in our world, like accelerating stuff and then it catches fire, or decelerating stuff and it freezes over, electricity, and I don't know, the creating matter that already exists. It's nothing completely out there that would not make sense in our world.
Yeah, man, it sounds really good. I really like how the story sounds, and obviously how it looks is really good too. And yeah, that hopefully this is going to take off. So you've got 26 days left, and it looks like you're nearly there too.
We're
need to get a few more backers onto this, man. I swear, you start spreading that news that it's free shipping in the States, I think we're going to get there real quick.
Oh yeah.
People just need to hear it and know about it. That's the same with any Comicsgate thing. Same with any book. It doesn't need to be Comicsgate. Promotion is like, man, it's 90% of it. The art and the stuff and the pitch and the campaign and everything that will get the first people through the door. But yeah, just being out there, just constantly in front of people's faces, because they don't always back. In fact, most people don't back straight away. Sometimes they wait until after it's in demand to back.
Yeah, me too. I see a book and say I definitely want to back this, but then I wait to see how the campaign develops, how if something gnarly is revealed about them, weird stuff in their past they did, and so forth and so on. So I totally feel what you're saying. Like I wait to see how the campaign develops, and also see how they promote other books. Like I've seen how important it is for people to be promoting other books, and of course also promoting themselves. But you see someone on Twitter and they do nothing but promote their own book, you start like, I don't know, man. Like this, it's a bit self. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
something
well,
with that.
it makes you wonder why they're in it. You know, like are they actually
Exactly.
really? Do they feel the camaraderie that the rest of us feel in Comicsgate? You know, do they really want to see their brothers succeed in the way that you may want your brothers to succeed? I definitely do get that feeling. It is a bit of a red flag if someone is not, you know, happy and, you know, really, you know, wanting to help and promote people and talk about their books. Like, I full disclosure, I get something out of this. You know, people come in and check out my channel, and you know, I love talking to people and, you know, seeing where they're coming from, and, you know, I'm seeing this really cool book now, and this is probably the best way that I think I can spend my lunch break is you know, learning and meeting new people like this. And you're exactly right in that sense.
Jason Black is putting some. Don't
God,
wait
what
to
is
find
this?
out.
Do I have to click that?
Sure.
So I've got to. No, hang on a sec. I've got to open. I don't even know how to. I've gone because I'm only in StreamYards. I don't have. Can one of you guys click on that? Like, put that link in the private chat because I can't actually grab it from here.
Yep.
That's the link to the book. Right.
Yeah, it's the
Oh, is it?
Indiegogo link.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's the comment that's funny. Don't wait to find out about David's weird past.
Right, I see.
Realize now.
I misread it. Yeah, and honestly, you know what it's going to say? Even not just about people with weird pasts and you know, going a bit weird, is just you know, unknown creators, even like Vestige. You know, I didn't back it until I heard people talking about it and saying how good it was.
I may have talked about it a little bit too much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, everyone's raving about it, and it was the exact same with Earthbound as well from Narwhal. I was just sort of sitting on the fence because I just didn't really know, and like we were saying earlier, the shipping and the price is kind of really pretty expensive to get out to Australia, so I can't just be you know, backing every single book. So
And then
yeah,
he gives you the hardcover, which is even more shipping.
well, I didn't. Luckily I jumped on to the soft cover, and I got to save a bit of money on that. But yeah, so that's why it's so important to just continuously have, you know, just give people a little flick in the face every day, once or twice a day, and just remind them that you're here, and you know, that your book is out and it's available, and yeah, it is very important to do that.
No, and I think that if you promote the others, it's also like if everyone is doing better, it also helps you. You know, you're part of a movement that is growing, that is in the mouth of people. People are talking about it, so they're also going to eventually go and check your own stuff. So it's good.
mutually
you should
beneficial
definitely
for
promote
everyone.
others, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not only is it mutually beneficial, but it's just fun, and
Oh, yeah,
it
absolutely.
makes things exciting, and everyone loves. You know, I harp on about this to no end, but everyone loves the whole game aspect of it.
And one thing
The whole, you know, winning and seeing the numbers go up. We all love that stuff.
Some of the projects I really like, and then when they succeed, it's also like, hey, yeah, I helped promote that project, and this looks awesome. So
yeah, you feel
eventually
part of it.
There'll be a number 2 of this, and all the better.
What were you going to say, Blue?
Oh, we should be promoting this that you can get it in multiple languages, and it's not just there's that languages appear in the book. It's the whole book is available in Spanish.
Yes, in German. Also,
in German.
if you go to the updates, there is, I think, the second update now is the secret links to all the German, Spanish, and digital. Because first these perks, they were on the front page, but it was clogging the whole page like crazy. So I decided to put everything hidden and put this on the updates part. Also because not many people were taking this perk, so I thought, you know what, if someone really, really wants it, here you go. They can.
Well, as well, people might just not know about it. I think, you know, banners are good. People are like, we're very visual. Writing it in text somewhere, it's not as eye-catching. You got to put a banner somewhere, and you got to get the word out, just like with your free shipping. So
yeah, but I think I'm glad that it's like this, because I think it may go really crazy if I have to print in 3 languages. So
I'm
keeping it like low. So if someone really wants it, you're gonna get it. but not not that it goes crazy and I have to print like 6, 7, 9 different books and I just completely lose oversight.
Rote Augen Teil 1.
Exakt.
Auf
Jawohl, Mann.
Deutsch.
Also, hey Leute, wenn ihr das Buch auf Deutsch wollt, dann solltet ihr
Ja.
auf den Objekt klicken.
Klar.
Genau.
I got clicking.
My goodness, my
Sehr
English,
gut.
my German is all rusty.
You think you're German? My wife is like burying her head under a pillow right now because she heard me try and attempt German on a stream.
Uh-oh.
She's
David,
very
so
embarrassed with my accent and my German altogether.
David, I see there's a lot of characters that you're featuring in a lot of these images. Is it hard to juggle them in your story and try and give everyone, their own little highlight or enough attention and detail?
Also, the villains, they don't appear as much, especially in the first book. And they are the villains, so I think that's okay. But yes, it is challenging. I've been juggling like, okay, now I have to feature more of this guy, and I have to feature more of that one. But I try to keep the feature, the feature, let's say, with the main protagonist. So the black girl, the hero, and the mentor with the flaming sword, they are featured the most, and the others have their moments. That's how I kind of stroke a balance, I think you would say.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be pretty difficult. I remember when the first Avengers movie came out, one of the things that people recognized Joss Whedon for doing was having those moments where you're like, oh, I remember when Thor got on top of the tower and shocked everyone, or when Captain America had his moment and he was commanding the police. So he did a very good job of balancing that. And I think that's something that, with all of his other foibles he may have, I think that's something he did a very good job at.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely true. Also, one of my inspirations is a manga called Basilisk, and it's about 9 villains fighting off against 9 heroes. And like I've taken a little bit of notes from that book, that usually there's chapters that feature 3 heroes fighting 3 of the villains, and then the next chapter would feature another set of 3, and eventually some of them die, and so you can feature more of the others. And I think that's a good way to go, because if you try to feature all 9 at the same time, that's impossible. I think
Guys, I'm going to have to leave it there.
So
thank you so much, David, for coming on and chatting to us about yourself and Red Eyes. I've had a great time. Thank you, Poland and Samurai. This has been lots of fun.
Yeah, hopefully you're able to contribute. This is great.
And guess what? You got a backer. It was on 34 when we started.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Woo!
I'm sure some other people who haven't backed here are looking at this and putting on their little mental list of books to keep an eye on. It's a great looking project, and you're a really cool dude. Just keep getting yourself out there, man, and get more eyes on this book. You got plenty of days left to do that. So really, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hail to the chat. Thanks to the backer. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, hail chat. We always hail the chat.
Hail chat.
Hail chat.
All right, guys. This
Reading
has been
the
great. And stay on, David. Don't jump off straight away. And we will see the chat. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.
Godspeed.
Take care.